Hello everybody, I'm back with a tactical battle report. It is Order of the Green Lady versus the Northern Alliance, and this is part of my Call to Arms Season 6 run, and this is the game number 1.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel, Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos.
Okay, so this is my Order of the Green Lady list, and Call to Arms is a 3-month long campaign tournament because each round you play is 2 weeks. You're given 2 weeks to schedule a game with your opponent and get it played, and so 6 rounds would be 12 weeks, and that's about 3 months. So this game has been more than 3 months ago, so if you calculate backwards, that's pretty much when Call to Arms was still Clash of Kings was still very new. Clash of Kings 2022. So before that, I took part in the Quintessentially Quail Cup. That's an invitational tournament hot off the heels of Clash of Kings 2022, and I piloted this list to the finals. So I thought that I'll give it another run and see how well I performed. And what we have in this list, mainly we have 2 units of Heart Piercers for a decent amount of shooting with a little bit of Lightning Bolt from the Unicorn. It has decent Alpha Strike with quite a lot of Alpha Strike, I would say. 2 Cavalries, 1 Flying Horde, 2 Beasts of Nature. Unicorn is still quite fast as well. Pegasus is really fast. And then it has some grind capability because it has defense 6 in Earth Elemental Regiment and Hordes. And healing from Avatar of the Green Lady with Cloak of Death or Radiance of Life, right? And heal 6. And on top of that, Druid has a pseudo heal 3 because it's heal 2 with Conjurer's Staff. Druid is amazing with Conjurer's Staff because you could take a bunch of spells because they cost so low because they roll very little dice. And then with that reroll from Conjurers, it just push it over the edge to be a more reliable. Bane Chant 2+1, Search 4+1, Heal 2+1, right? So what this list is weak against, or what its weakness is, it has very few number of actual punching hammer units, and that would be my Order of the Brotherhood, which are like quite normal cavalry units, right? And then Order of Redemption is strong, and Forsaken is strong, but these are the main heavy hitters. Of course, it has the flankers in the Beast of Nature, so it relies on those flanks, and then it relies on the healing capabilities to grind. Okay, so let's take a look at my opponent's list. So believe it or not, this is the first time I'm fighting against Northern Alliance, and so I'm not very familiar with the army, especially the Lord on Frostfang. I know the big thing about him is that he has 9 attacks, but one thing I didn't remember was that he actually has Crushing Strength 3. I thought it was a combination of maybe Crushing 2 plus Thunder 1, something like that. And then I also forgot that he has Strider, which is very strong, right? So next we have Ice Naiads, Nice Ensnare unit, Huskarls, which are heavy hitting infantry, and 3 Hordes of Ice Elemental for that Icy Breath and such shenanigans. So let's see how the game goes. The scenario is Raise, so that's the one where you burn the tokens on the opponent's half of the board. This is the deployment, and the numbers you see are in the order that we dropped our units, from 1 to 13 for me, and from 1 to I think 13 also for him. So one thing you should note about Raise is that because the tokens need to be 12 inch away from each other, and then there's one central token that can't be burned, so because of the spacing, you will always have 2 tokens on one half of the board and 1 token on the other half. So you have to bear in mind the 2 that you're going to attack, in this case it's here, and the 2 that you're going to defend. So in this case, both are on the same half. Okay, sometimes the 2 tokens you're attacking is here, and the 2 tokens you're defending is on the other half. Then you really have to split your forces quite a bit. But in this case, everything is condensed on this left half of the board. Okay, so that's what to take note of. Let's start with turn 1. He won the initiative and went first, pushing everything up. So one thing to take note is he has this Lord guarding the right flank. I like to put beasts on both flanks, so that forces the opponent to deal with it. If he doesn't deal with it, I get to flank. If he deals with it, it tends to spread the forces out a bit thinner, which gives me reign to maneuver around and find a weak point to attack. Okay, so what he did very well is to screen his unit. I mean, this is a classic tactic, right? Is to screen your units. Snow Foxes in front of three big units, and especially the two Huskarls over here. And the Snow Foxes do have what you call this, stealthy, so they are not as easy to shoot down, especially with my Heart Piercers. One thing he failed to do was to cater or guard against this Beast of Nature on the left flank, because the Naiads just moved straight up. So that's what I capitalized on the left side. I just flew 20 and turn, looking down the flank on these two units. In hindsight, maybe I'm not sure, I could have, let me draw the pen on here, so maybe I could be more this side so that I'm a little bit closer towards the center of the table, because that would maybe allow me to threaten this unit, because as of now I think I'm out of 20 of this central ice elementals over here. Okay, so if I were closer, that would have been perfect. The cavalry got up to the hill for a thunderous charge next turn, so that's great. So the Naiads shot down, even with stealth, shot down the middle unit of Snow Foxes that's screening these Huskarls, and then with some extra shots left over, it shot at this unit of Snow Foxes. I would have wanted to shoot at this unit, but this unit is in cover, so cover and stealth is 6s to hit, so I don't like the odds. So yeah, I think the lightning bolt went here, but it sort of fluffed, so no damage on this unit over here. So these two things moved up cautiously, and this Redemption Knight had no choice but to move up, unless I want to just give up on it straight away. At this point, I didn't want to give up on this token, so I moved within 3 inches to be expected to be charged at. Hopefully the forest will help me get some hindered charges. These Huskarls though have Caterpillar, so no luck on that front. Okay, so let's see what happens next. So as expected, let's start from the right. So firstly, the Lord on Frostfang moved to be within 3 inches so that I don't get to burn this token easily with this beast. Huskarls shuffled upwards, and then this what do you call this? Snow Foxes charged into this unit, and so setting up the two Huskarls and the Lord of Frostfang to charge it. So it's like its fate is almost sealed. At this point, I'm not sure if I could ever kill and back up 3 inches to be out of charge range of this unit, but at that point I was still holding the belief to try to defend this token, so I just remained there. Let's see what else I should look at. Things moved up, the ice elementals moved up and breathed at this regiment of earth elementals, dealing 5, not too bad, but I got quite a bit of healing, so I'm not too worried about that, and it's only the regiment. Anyway, these two units has moved to deal with the beast, so the beast is in the Naiads front arc, and this flank can't be landed upon. Okay, this unit of Snow Foxes moved up to try to screen against these earth elementals, and these knights are unable to charge anything on the right side, but it can however still charge either this or this, right? The one horde on the left or the Naiads on the left. Okay, so let's see what I do in return. So let's start on the right side. So my Beast of Nature is able to do this dance with the Lord on Frostfang. I flew past its front arc, landed here, landed within 3 inches of this token, so the Lord must stay within 3, if not I'll get to burn it easily. But at the same time, I'm still threatening flanks. Okay, so this unicorn went in to chaff up this unit. This unit does have Pathfinder, but this unit of Huskarls don't. So I'm thinking, okay, if this Huskarls charge into it, it will be hindered. And at that point, I didn't remember that Strider on the Lord on Frostfang. So I thought this guy would be hindered as well, and if it's a combination of Thunder plus Crushing, maybe it's only Crushing 2. So like, maybe I can survive this. That's what I was thinking at the time. So this Huskarls was only in range to charge the Redemption Knights, right? The Earth Elementals took care of the Snow Foxes while I made this big play charging in at all these things. So Pegasus chaff up this unit, and then the Forsaken charging in, and the Knights charging in. So I'm thinking they are all wounding on 2s because this one has Thunderous off the hill and this unit has Bane Chant. And with Cloak of Death from my Green Lady over here, so I was thinking I have a good chance to route one or both of it. Of course, I'll need to roll 6 twice or maybe even 7 twice depending on the roll, because this Forsaken Knights would hit on average 12 hits, 10 wounds, right? With Cloak of Death, that's 11, that's a 6 twice to kill, and this would be somewhere between a 6 or a 7 twice to kill as well because it has only 2 less attacks. I killed neither of them, so I dealt 11 damage here in total with Cloak. Needed 6 twice, didn't get it, and I dealt abysmal number of wounds over here. Should be 11 but I only had 4. And so I do have to chaff up the Naiads in case, because so I chaffed up these 2 units, so if in case I don't kill, it's not the end of the world, right? Which it isn't, because the Earth Elementals are also in position to help assist charge the units after that. Okay, so one mistake I did here was I charged in the Beast of Nature, but actually I don't need to charge it. Okay, because when I charge it, I dealt it some wounds, sure, but it's going to regen some. It's going to counter charge, and when it counter charges, it's not hindered. Alright, but if I let it charge my beast hindered, then I would take less wounds. So that's something that I should take note of in future. So that's one of my mistakes. So in response, the 2 units expectedly kill off the Redemption Knights, and now because these Huskarls were just touching the forest slight bit, I think it needed to overrun on 3 to get past this forest, so it did a good overrun, and now my Beast of Nature can't see it. Okay, and it's still threatening the Naiads, which is a good thing for him. He can just turn his Lord here because I can't see it as well. Let me just take a pen out. Yep, so probably not. Okay, so Lord over here turns to face the beast while staying within the token, and then this Huskarl killed the Unicorn but have to face this way because of the beast. So with this one beast, I sort of locked down these 2 units, which is a good thing because this is an expensive unit, right? That's Huskarls with Pathfinder. So yeah, unfortunately, which is great. So if I kept up the game, I could keep these 2 units out of the game, which would be awesome, but I made a mistake, as you'll see later on. Okay, so Operation Left Side failed to kill any of the Ice Elementals. They charged back, dealing some wounds. Good luck for me here is that this Pegasus lived. Okay, the Naiads regenerated 1 and dealt 3 damage back on the beast. Okay, so this is where everything starts to fall apart. Okay, I made 2 critical mistakes here. So firstly, these Knights, having lost Thunderous, took the assist from the Earth Elementals to take out this horde over here, and he healed this horde. It was on 11, now it was on 5. That's why the Earth Elementals came in to help. I think he should have healed. I'm not sure. I think he should have healed this horde instead. None of them is a great choice actually. So this horde still has CS1. I might have Bane Chanted it. I'm not too sure. It's either I Bane Chanted or I healed. But both the hordes went down. Not too bad. And my beast here counter charge. So it's now on 6 wounds. Nowhere near, but look at this positioning, right? These 2 units are in position to flank the Naiads at this point. So I just need the beast to hold. So if the objective is to have the beast hold, I shouldn't have counter charge, because then I would have a better chance of living. Although the chance of taking out the beast is very small, but it's still there. And especially because of this, notice my inspiring source is much further. It's not inspiring the beast. Why is that? Because I needed the Green Lady to fly about 10 inches and then still cast heal on this Forsaken. If you look over here, yeah. So it moved about 10 inches in this way, and then it healed this Forsaken. It was on 5, now it's back on 1, which is great for the Forsaken, but now my piece is out of inspiring, which is a mistake here. So over in the center, my Naiads turn unloaded more shots on this unit of Huskarls, and I rode pretty poorly because 2 units without cover, right? Because I moved my leader point out of the terrain. So I think I should average 10 hits and 5 wounds. I only dealt 2. If I dealt 5 wounds, they are within waiver territory. So pretty bad luck there, but I also positioned that these Naiads would be charged by this, so that the only casualty is the Naiads. Okay, right? And then there's this Lord on Frostfang here, so it's getting ready to be charged over here. One mistake I made with this Beast of Nature, so this would have been fantastic. I flew the beast over here, once again out of the front arc of this Lord, and still threatening this Huskarl, so the Huskarls have to deal with it. The big mistake I made was I was supposed to place it out of 11 inches, but I placed it within 11 inches. I did remember that he has wild charge, so it's not that I forgot that this unit has wild charge, but I saw the grid lines wrongly. In UB we have grid lines, right? And this is before the UB updated to be able to just see the distance by mouse over. So that one that is a very costly mistake, because on top of that the Huskarls can charge and it's in the flank and they have Pathfinder, so this is a gone Beast of Nature. So let's see what happens in return. So first thing, he took out this Beast of Nature, which was totally my mistake. Let's go to the center. The Lord charged 1 Naiads and this Huskarls charged the other. My Naiads amazingly lived, while that Lord killed the other Naiads on its own. I was like, ouch. This Ice Elementals, thankfully because my Pegasus survived 1 round, is now facing off against the killed off the Pegasus and facing off against the Forsaken. And look over here, the key thing over here is that this guy is dead, the Beast of Nature, and now both these units are in the front arc of the Naiads, which is bad news for me because they have Ensnare, right? And then it's not as easy to take down. Okay, good news about his Lord with killing off, then it doesn't cup a flank charge from this unit, so from this Forsaken unit, so that's painful all around. So let's see, my return, I double charged these 2 units into the Naiads and didn't kill it, which is pretty sad. Let's see, this should have been 8 wounds and 8 hits and 6 wounds at least. 6 wounds, and this would have been 6 hits and 4 wounds. 4 wounds, yes, 6 hits, 4 wounds, 6 wounds, 10 wounds, 14. Cloak of Death 15 and Brutal 16. Let's see, am I at 16? I'm only at 14 and I didn't kill off the Naiads. So that's pretty sad news all around. This Earth Elemental charged over here, and this Forsaken took out the Huskarls. Sadly, it's the heavily wounded Huskarls. I've been shooting at it for many rounds. And yeah, these guys are, after killing off the beast, if the beast was alive, it would have been keeping these 2 busy, but now that the beast is dead, these 2 are making its way to the center. So note this Ice Elementals over here, and here she has 2 Ice Queens for Surge, and this is a surgeable distance. After moving, I think they are speed 5 or speed 6, and then I think it needs about 8 or 9, so I think he needs about 8. And Surge, he has Surge 16, so that's half, but the Ice Queens have some reroll mechanics, so the odds are better than half to Surge into the Earth Elementals. Okay, slight bit of luck on my side was that depending on how many successes of the first Surge and the second Surge, he might have surged into the rear, but because of how the success was split between the 2 surges, he surged into my flank. So definitely this Earth Elementals can survive a flank surge. I think he might have clipped the forest as well for Hindred over here. So let's rewind. Let's talk about the center. Lord on Frostfang just punched back while these 2 units creeped up again. What mistake I made here was that the previous round, after killing off this Huskarl over here, these Naiads should have faced this way, because I knew these Huskarls were making their way forward, and if they came forward towards the center, I could have charged it and chefed it up one more round, and I didn't basically. So that sucks. So too blinded by this Lord on Frostfang in my face, I have to deal with it. So I turned everything towards it, and that sort of blinded me from thinking ahead of the next threat. Right, there's another Lord on Frostfang over here, which is bad news for me. Okay, so let's come back to here. The reason why you see a lot of numbers here is because of this. Because the Naiads charged the Knights over here, my Earth Elemental couldn't charge it in the front because it's actually in the flank. So it has to make a flank charge. And so my it just needs to move forward, because as long as you contact this corner, contacting this corner means you're in either you're contacting both the front and the flank, and you can just pick up and place in the flank over here like so. Okay, I did that. I picked up and placed, and visually it seemed like it couldn't fit. It seemed like the gap between the Naiads and the Earth Ice Elementals were too small, and so I decided to countercharge the Ice Elementals because I thought it couldn't fit. But on hindsight, after the game, I sort of mapped it out, and actually there's supposed to be space, because UB, sometimes we don't center it perfectly, and especially the old version of UB doesn't have the center point marked. So the Naiads were actually just slightly towards here, that's why it couldn't fit. If I map it out, there's actually enough space, because 200 mil frontage of the Naiads, 125 of the Knights, there is 75, divided by 2 is 37.5 on each side. And then minus the 120 frontage here, taking off the 37.5, that's 82.5 here. The width of the Earth Elementals is 80, so there's space to fit. And then at least I could kill off the Knights, the Naiads, take off this token, turn to face the Ice Elementals, and with my healing from Green Lady, I wouldn't die to the to the Ice Elementals in front, defense 6 and hindered, right? So alas, that's not what I did. So sad trombone over there. I'm gonna explain more in this, because I forgot to take the screenshot for my turn. So this Naiads turn to face and shoot at the Huskarls, basically. This one charged into the flank of the Lord, probably taking it out with a double charge along with the Earth Elementals. Okay. So that's what happened, and guess what? The Knights died to the Naiads again. So the Naiads, I think they're supposed to wound on 5, right? Hit on 4s, wound on 5, that's 4. So if on average it would be 8, and then needing 9 twice to kill, and he got it. So his dice were a little bit on the hot side, and while my dice were a little bit on the cold side. After the game, my opponent did say his dice were hot and my dice were terrible. But if you see how I'm reviewing this game, there are definitely a lot of things that I could have done better. Okay, dice is something we can't control. Our play is something we can control, so we can always think of how we can improve our play. I don't really blame my dice for losing this game, because I knew that I made several big mistakes. Okay, one being the Beast of Nature. And that point of time, I also realized that I should have turned my Naiads one turn earlier to face off against this Huskarls. And after the game, I realized this mistake here, that I could have actually flanked the Naiads. So 3 big mistakes over here. Okay. So bottom of 6, what happened? At this point, he has burned off this token over here because of my costly mistake from my Beast of Nature. And he has come to the center, right? It has burned, it didn't burn any of these tokens. So I finally killed the Ice Elementals and burned 1 token over here. So I'm at 1, he burned off 1, but he is holding the center. Okay, this is bottom of 6, so he overran his Naiads top of 6, so that if there's a turn 7, I think he could be able to get to 1 or both of the tokens. I think only 1. Not sure about whether this is within 3, right? But so what I had was a large ditch effort to win the center, So I had my naiads shoot, and then I searched into the Huskarls. Decent chance, right? 5 hits and 2 wounds, and then the golems will deal another 2 wounds because it's 4.5 hits again, 2 wounds. So he should be at about 10 or 11 with brutal. That's 4, 5 twice, 5 twice, or 6 twice, right? Alas, it did not happen again, and so I lost the center. I even positioned my naiad such that what was this? So when I shoot, when I charged in, I think then when I searched in, it would still be within 3 inches of this token or something like that, and I have to position in a way that I don't give him cover from my earth elementals. Yeah, I think that's somewhat what I did, and so it ended bottom of 6. So I lost this game. So pretty painful loss. Starting out with a loss, top of round 1 of Call to Arms. And even though, yeah, I thought started out strong, I thought I had a good, especially if that Beast of Nature play, I didn't make that mistake, I would be dancing around 1 unit of Huskarls and 1 Lord on Frostfang the entire game. And these happened to be the 2 that made it to the center at the end of the game, so that's really painful. So let's look at some learning points. So to get that distance correct, right, my Beast of Nature. Second one, yeah, we need to come up with solution to for hammers that are being screened by his Snow Fox's chaff, right? So one is you have more chaff than the opponent. You kill his chaff with your chaff. The other one, which was what I was relying on, is to outshoot the chaff. Kill them with shooting. Unfortunately, because my list is not a dedicated shooting list, right? It only has some, so you can only take out 1 of the units of chaff, right? The third one is to try to weaken their charge. So armies might have weakness, or you cause the opponents be hindered if they don't have Pathfinder, or there's a new spell in Clash, right? Scorched Earth, which I was pretty fascinated by. So you'll see me trying out Scorched Earth because I wanted to have a little bit more of this. Okay. Last solution is to have more hammers than the opponent, so that if you lose 1, so if I had 1 more hammers, I might come out on top of the grind. Okay. So what disappointed me this game was the naiads. Other than shooting out 1 unit of the Snow Foxes at the start, it really didn't do enough the rest of the game. It shot, sometimes it dealt under, sometimes it wounded the unit that will be charged by a hammer anyway. Then so didn't the damage it contributed earlier did not matter. So these are the drawbacks. Okay, so tight spaces, math it out. Then you say, hey, actually, yeah, we could fit, right? So we want to play the game correctly. So sometimes even on the tabletop, when they charge, it's not fully centered. You can say math it out. Okay, theoretically, it should be able to fit. So your unit is not totally in the center. So lastly, don't blank out. So I was a little bit flustered by all my mistakes that I forgot to plan for the next turn. I'm talking about the naiads that's supposed to face the incoming Huskarls. Even if I don't charge, I could have moved up in its face and then shoot it point blank because the shooting is stronger than the charging, but force it to charge me because it doesn't have nimble. And practice the late game. I find this with myself most of the time. I'm very comfortable with how I start the game because you have a few different sets of deployments. You react to your opponent a little bit somewhat, but how you push your forces forward to position for charges tend to be a bit similar, right? So we're very comfortable with this, but after that, when we are presented with different situations where we have to react to, we have to make decisions, what do I do here, what do I do there, I find that this is the part that most players, including myself, were lacking. You need to be faced with more situations. So what could we do to practice this? I don't know, because there's always, when you play, in order to play the late game, there's always the early game, right? So I think one thing is to continue to play your games and try not to concede in the middle of the game, because even if you're obviously losing, it trains you to practice what you can do in the middle and late stages of the game, right? So get that practice in rather than folding on turn 3 or 4 when most of your army is down. Force yourself to think, what can I do to get out of this predicament? right? So then in future, when you have more forces, you will be able to come out on top even better. So with that is the end of my first battle report in a long while. So if you have enjoyed it, do click the likes and the subscribe and the bell icon. I will be covering my round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of Call to Arms in the next 5 videos. So if you enjoyed it, if you learned something tactical from this, do remember to click that like and subscribe. I'm approaching 500 subscribers, so do help me hit that target. Thank you.